Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm, and Bradley, I had a brutal bit of post this morning.
A brutal bit of post?
Yeah.
Go on then.
I don't think I've ever been
detail.
upset by a bit of post, really.
Oh,
Generally,
God.
it's spam because my address is on company's house. But actually, it's not anymore. It's our accountants, thank God. But
yeah,
I opened up this parcel, handwritten address, and it was my new book.
Whoa!
But it wasn't my new book. It was.
Oh, no.
It was. It was a mock cover put onto a book about pregnancy. Actually.
Wow.
That I'd been sent by my publisher because I need to start taking photos and doing videos to announce the book. But I was like, oh my God, it's the first copy of a book about pregnancy with my cover on it.
Oh dear. Yeah, so nice. So you got a mock. That's good.
Yeah.
That's cool. Are you showing anyone the cover? Or is any of the listeners going to be able to see the cover?
Maybe I can give a Patreon exclusive, but
that's nice.
I'm supposed to wait for the general announcement, which is the 29th of May.
Oh, yeah, okay. If you're embargoed.
Yeah, I'm embargoed. But I might break the embargo for our Patreon subscribers, so long as they promise not to then break my embargo on my embargo.
That's a lot of embargoes.
Yeah, more than I intended in the first minute and a half of this podcast. But yeah, so it's been a big week all round, really, hasn't it?
Sure has, mate. There's lots of beer news.
A lot of
news. If we crack into that first of all, or
well,
or
maybe.
What, but, my word.
Why don't we talk about what we've been doing this week? Because really, this podcast is all about us, not James Watt.
That's true. Not yet, at least. Anyway.
No, not yet. Not unless he's going to use his newfound money to buy the craft beer channel and actually.
Holy shit!
End up.
How much are we taking? If he wants to buy us?
To be owned by that guy, I want all his money. Every penny he has is what it would take for him to buy the craft beer channel.
What about a ride on his slide in his biggest pub in London, and a ride on his private jet? Has he got a private jet? He does use private jets a fair amount. And a ride in his... I imagine he's got a pretty nice car. Ferrari or something? Maybe a green... Probably a BrewDog blue.
I feel like you're implying you'd give up the craft beer channel to somebody like James Watt in return for a ride on a private jet and a trip down the slide.
No. That was where I was starting. He might start out with, go on.
Because he's literally written books on negotiation, right? That is where he started.
He's a hard...
You can go on the slide in my pub that's well known for exploiting its workers. Yeah, brilliant, James. We have immediately gone on to the James Watt news, so let's not. So this week, on Tuesday, I went to the canning.
You did? This is very exciting.
Yeah, the canning of our next collab beer, which is coming out next week.
Board Shorts.
It is an IPA version of Short Shorts, which we brewed with Baron for our 10th birthday festival, which is happening again this year.
Yeah, we're doing the 10th birthday all over again.
Yeah.
No, it's the 11th birthday.
It's the 11th birthday,
it's going to be just as good.
11's my lucky number, so this could be big. I won't tell you why, because it was because Ryan Giggs' shirt number was 11, but we've since established that Ryan Giggs is a monster.
Is he? I didn't know that. I mean, I don't know anything about football.
Had an affair with his brother's wife.
Oh, does that make him a monster? I mean, it's pretty dastardly, yeah.
It's pretty
Is
bad.
that a monster?
I don't really want...
That's not a monster. Come on, that's not a monster.
It's
though.
not.
That's bad.
Well, I think
You're
there was
gonna
other
fall
things.
out.
I think there were other things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But anyway, yes. So board shorts, it's a Strata, Simcoe, and now Motueka. Craft Beer Channel fans will know I love a bit of Motueka. IPA 6.5%, and I went. So we brewed it about 3 weeks ago. Brad was there. I was there. Jack was there.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly, and indeed some bang fresh Strata straight off the boat was there, thanks to Lochran Brewer Supplies.
Yeah, amazing.
And yeah, we canned it, so I got to taste. You know, when you're canning beer, it is green, as the brewers would say.
Yes.
So it's bitter. It's quite muted aroma wise. It's not the finished product. Sort of, it's not bottle shock. It's like transfer shock from the tank to the canning line. And it's also really, really cold as well. But it was smelling pretty incredible already. Like, I was just editing the video. I said passion fruit, lime, and green fruit pastels.
Oh, I love a green fruit pastel. Wow.
Yeah, I think they're an underrated colour of fruit pastel.
I like green. Any sort of gummy sweet that's green, I'm into.
Yeah, I like to put the green with the yellow ones and get the lemon and lime, the Sprite combo.
You got it right. I tell you what, I had some Haribo this week, Johnny, in Haribo news. New Haribo, right? I've never seen them before. They were conjoined jelly babies. So like two jelly babies. Yeah, like jelly babies that were linked together. Two jelly babies, different colours.
Intentionally, not like a manufacturing mess up.
No. They were called Double Trouble jelly babies. Haribo Double Trouble jelly babies. But this is because you just said green and yellow to get the sort of Sprite vibes going on. The yellow was banana flavoured, mate. It's always, in Haribo jelly babies, it's always lemon.
Yeah.
But for these, it was banana. And you know what? That killed it for me. I like banana flavour, but it should be lemon. It's a lemon jelly baby. Yeah. Why is it bloody
banana and lime?
that could it's not the one.
No, that could upset some people. Well, I'm sorry you had that experience, Brad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I bought 2 packets of them, and I gave the other pack to my girlfriend's dad because he was enjoying them. And I had a reserve pack to take home. We went to visit him, and I gave him as a parting gift because I thought, I'm not eating those. You can have those. What
a good man, Brad. Yeah,
I know. Well, yeah, that was basically.
Yeah, have these sweets I don't like. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, but you will like board shorts. It's smelling incredible. It's bitter. You know, Jack and I talked a lot about the bitterness and the sulfates levels to make it crisper, and he's not held back. Well, he's held back a little bit on the sulfates, I'm going to be honest, but he hasn't held back on the IBUs. We're proper IPA IBUs, decent amounts of sulfate, and it's translating. It'll be a little bit softer than it was on Tuesday, and I've got some cans in my fridge. I'm going to crack one tonight and see if it's softened, if it's less green now.
Banging. Love it.
And of course, you folk at home can try, sadly only if you're UK based, by joining our live show on the 29th of May. I cannot stress how much it is the 29th of May. No, wait, it's not even the 20th. What is wrong with me? It's the... I've got some kind of weird brain block when it comes to the date of this live show. It's the 31st of May. Not the 19th, as I previously said. Not the 29th, as I just tried to announce, but the 31st of May. 8 p.m. on the channel, live with Jack from Baron. Next week is our video with Baron, the Brew Day.
Yes.
And we will announce the release of that box that day, so you'll have just under a fortnight to order it for it to definitely be there on time. It's going to be 5 beers in the pack, a 6-pack with 5 beers, so you get 2 of the board shorts.
Fantastic.
Including a red IPA for red IPA enthusiasts out there.
Ooh, yeah, I like a red IPA.
Not something we come across often, but so I was excited to have that in the pack. So yeah, that will be on sale on Wednesday, and obviously we'll promote that in the podcast next week as well. And it is smelling and already tasting pretty incredible. Have you got any beery tales for this week?
Oh, mate, I've been doing some heavy lifting DIY stuff in Margate, building my mezzanine and putting on bifold doors and doing all that sort of shit.
No, thank
Loads
you.
of trip runs today. I'm absolutely exhausted, mate. Painting is. I think some people say it's zen. I don't find painting particularly zen.
No, it's deeply stressful.
It's
Deeply
quite
boring.
stressful, and when I've just been clearing everything today, going to the tip, I've just twatted one of the bifold doors, which was fresh, well, painted last week, but like now I'm going to need to paint it again. So I'm very upset. But yesterday I consoled myself after I'd been doing my bits and bobs by being on the beach, watching the sunset, down on the front near the harbour at Xylo Brewery, which I've never really been to much in there, but it was very nice inside, I must say. And I was drawn in by the allure of Keller Pills. They had Keller Pills on draft, and they also had London Black on draft. But I was feeling like I needed a quenching lager, so I had a couple of pints of Keller Pills and watched the sunset, and it was epic.
Nothing.
And I had loads of lovely crisps. I had some Kent Crisp Company crisp, which I rate pretty highly. I had a discussion with the bar person about them, and I said, you've got lots of different flavours, but you haven't got the best flavour. They went, what's that? I said, it's like Longhorn beef or something. It's like an old breed of beef with horseradish. And they informed, yeah.
It's just beef flavouring. How do they know it's Longhorn beef flavouring?
I don't know, but it tastes banging. They are really excellent. Anyway, to my dismay, they told me that particular flavour, the best flavour, has been discontinued.
It always is. The beef and horseradish is always the first to go.
Mate, it's discontinued. So we had a Chipotle one. We had what was the other one? Rosemary one, I think it was. We had a sea salt and some sort of vinegar one that was very good.
I nearly messaged you when I was in cider country, because we went to a farm shop to grab some lunch while on the road, and I came across, I took a photo of it, I can't dig it out now, but it was like artisan local Herefordshire crisps, and I had a wild garlic crisps, and they were, well, I'm not going to lie, they were a lot, but they were also delicious.
Mate.
I could taste them hours later, but they were so good.
Dude, I'm there. That sounds amazing. It was wild garlic season a few weeks back. I don't know how long the season is, but
yeah, I presume these crisps only come out once a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Did your Instagram blow up in the same way mine did? This is sort of says what we used to do before, because I've got loads of friends that are, work in food and stuff, and they all go out foraging and whatnot. So my whole Instagram for like a week was
people picking
photos of wild garlic and shit.
Yeah, and it's not even just foodies. It's like an acceptable. Not that foraging is not acceptable. It's a very recognizable plant. So people who don't ever forage are also excited about wild garlic. It's wild garlic, and it's elderflower, which I think is about to come into season. Should be just about to blossom. Very easy to forage.
Should we make a wild garlic beer? I don't think I've ever had a garlic beer that I liked.
No. We could make an elderflower. In fact, every spring I say I want to make a session strength Belgian saison with foraged elderflower, and I never get my arse in gear. So actually, if I haven't missed it, now might be the time. I need to put an email into Malt Miller and say, hey, let's make this.
Yeah.
Probably not a video, although maybe. Now I'm thinking.
I'd like a bit of foraging.
Yeah.
We did years back. We did some foraging videos, didn't we?
We did with Yonder.
With Yonder,
and I've been elderflower foraging with Yonder, with them and Deo, which I took photos of and wrote about for a year in beer, and it was a very pleasant afternoon.
What did we?
I've just committed myself to another homebrew episode that's probably going to go wrong.
Oh dear, we went foraging with them years ago. What were we foraging? Was it nettles?
Nettles for a nettle pilsner. Yeah.
That was it, yeah.
It was the week before we went to America to make our first documentary.
Hell,
very different.
Yeah, it was. That was busy.
A bit of a juxtaposition of foraging for nettles in the Mendips, then knee deep in snow in Vermont.
Yeah. I remember that like the Mendips were quite beautiful, weren't they? I've never been to the Mendip
Yeah,
Hills,
yeah, they're
and
stunning.
it was
Yeah.
we drove up on like quite a narrow path, and then we were right at the top of whatever it was in the Mendips, and I just remember being quite high up, and he had a little tiny dog that was running around as well. It was great.
Taco, the Jack Russell.
Yeah. It's a lovely day.
But before I forget,
Yeah.
you mentioned Kellerpill, so Lost and Grounded,
Yeah.
who we are actually working with on our next homebrew episode alongside WHC Yeast. They sent me a package this morning. Didn't know it was coming. That was another. It's been a good post day, and I'm also expecting a midnight manager at some point because I did put the order in. Yeah, they've just sent me a pack of. I forget the name of the beer now, but it is an iced coffee pale ale. So it's a collision of your two greatest loves, Bradley. Food and drink wise. Yeah.
From those guys, they just love making really great lagers though. That's very exciting. Wow.
I think because they're the official supplier of the beer. I was in London. I was outside Caravan. You know the fountains outside Caravan on St Martin's. My daughter was playing in that. And as they were bringing out the Lost and Grounded bar, and suddenly everyone around me was drinking Kellerpills, but I wasn't.
There's a Lost and Grounded bar in
like
Cold Drops Yard,
a mobile bar
outside St Martin's.
Yeah, a mobile bar that comes out when the weather's good. And everyone's drinking that.
Wow, okay.
But yes, I'm going to save you a can of the iced coffee pale ale because I thought it'd be right up your street. And thank you, Lost and Grounded. Also, we were drinking their Running with Scepters while getting inspiration for this homebrew episode we're doing, and that was tasting absolutely fantastic.
It was, wasn't it? And it was very special.
Had 2 cans since you left as well, and they're all banging. Right. Well, beer news. Should we start with Mr. Watt?
Yeah, go on then. Why not?
Okay. Why what? So James Watt, captain of BrewDog. I'd say he's more of a dead-eyed shark than a ship's captain. Has either been pushed out of BrewDog or has left of his own volition, or a little bit of both.
Has he walked the plank, Johnny?
He's walked the plank. Nice. So he's still a shareholder, but he is no longer CEO, no longer running the company day to day. That falls to James Arrow, who, in true punk tradition, used to be the CEO of Specsavers. So
brilliant.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one because James has become, I would say, the face of the toxic element within BrewDog. Has certainly not behaved in a way that would imply he really cares about the issues that are allegedly within his company. And so he's gone, and this all comes like the important context to remember. It's probably not that he wants to chase that influencer life with his new lady. It's more that so they've been trying to do an IPO for a long time. They need to get their books right. Because, as was identified in the BBC documentary recently, they have to pay TSG, who invested
I remember this,
200 million or something into them.
Yeah,
they have to pay them about 600 million when they do an IPO or an overall sale to another company. So they need to ensure that 600 mil wouldn't take the company down, which would obviously make an IPO very unsuccessful, or make them unsuitable as a purchase. But also, and I don't know whether they care about this, it might well be that them having to pay 600 million to TSG wipes out any profits for the Equity for Punks members.
Yes, because they got like a sort of a different kind of share, didn't they?
Yeah,
the
from
guys,
round 3 onwards, I believe.
Yeah. It's all of these equity for punks, I think it's maybe a bit of pill they might be swallowing at some point. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. We've said, a lot about James. I guess they've built an incredibly huge, successful brand from not a lot. I'm aware his family were wealthy and owned lots of fishing boats and whatnot. But it's still an achievement, isn't it? So, I mean, look, he's a good businessman, isn't he? Let's be honest. But it's
yeah.
It's
Well, it depends on your
news that he's
definition of good.
making a lot of money for yourself.
Yeah.
He's a profitable businessman.
Well, actually, that's not true. He's not profitable. They haven't made money since TSG invested. They've made a loss every year, and they made a 30 million loss last year.
Is that to like so they pay less tax or something?
No, it's because it's all out growth to get the maximum value for the sale.
Yeah. They operate in 70 countries, I think, from memory.
Possibly,
something insane. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's 70 countries, which is mad. That can't be right. Is that right? I'm sure.
When you
70.
say operate, I mean they might sell to 70 countries. That's not that unsurprising.
Yeah. That's true.
They wouldn't have bars in 70, probably like 10, 15. I mean, the really interesting thing around this is the fact that BrewDog, it's kind of make or break for BrewDog this year because they need to sell or they need to do an IPO because of that bill from TSG because it's been whatever it is 5 years. And it's interesting that just before that kind of crunch moment, James leaves. You'd have thought somebody who is in control of their business, well regarded within their company, a positive force with a plan, would be kept on until the sale to assure like a smooth transition. But they've booted him out. It's a bit like a football manager being fired just before the relegation battle. It's like, really, that's a very bold and slightly desperate move. And I think my thinking on it, and I have no insider knowledge whatsoever, is that James Watt was always going to leave and James Arrow was always going to take over. But somebody, or many people who are very important, have said, we think that the company stands a better chance doing an IPO, which is initial public offering, listing on the stock exchange, or an all-out sale if James is not the figurehead anymore. So I think things have been accelerated to give the company the best chance at a return. Hopefully thinking a return for everybody, but definitely in terms of TSG getting their money and the company not going under. Because 600 million, that's double their annual turnover. And... They lost 30 million last year, so it's not, it's not all rosy at BrewDog. No. And I'd be very surprised if James wanted to go, but maybe an offer or a situation was put to him that was hard to refuse.
Well, I guess sometimes when you have, presumably they have board members and stuff, right? You can like be the founder of the company and the CEO, but if the board vote you out, then you're out, right? But
it would depend on how many voting shares, how many shares you had. I think he was down to probably more than the 23% that TSG owned. I think possibly between him and Martin, they still owned the majority share, or between his family and Martin and his family, they still owned a majority. So I don't think it would have been a vote that pushed him out necessarily.
Yeah.
Unless rumours of a rift between Martin and James are true, but I have zero evidence, just hearsay to point to that.
I must say, I mean, like we're whatever, we're like, oh, drink independent, whatever, and which is fair enough, and all the rest of it. I have had some good, historically, I've had some good times drinking BrewDog and stuff. So like, they definitely have been important to a lot of people along the way. And it's a shame that there's problematic stuff happening within that company. Imagine if it didn't have problematic stuff and the beer was like incredible.
Yeah, imagine if they were Sierra Nevada or all these other companies that have got to incredible sizes and not done it through exploiting their workers. And
I always wish that, it could turn the ship around and like, it's a British brand that's out there in the world going, because it's kind of cool that there's a British brand that, people in America and elsewhere think is cool, They might not know all the bad shit. And I'm saying, I'm not defending the bad shit. I'm saying it's cool that there is a brand out there that is seen around the world. It's just a shame that there's problematic stuff around it.
They're still the flagship brand for the UK craft beer movement, which is increasingly negative, but was, as recently as 20 20 a massive positive. You know, some bad things
Yeah.
have come out of BrewDog, but they were a fast-growing business, and we all kind of excused it as that. And at least back then, they were apologetic for the things they got wrong, and that turned. I think it was shortly before the BBC documentary. It started to turn sour. Like the evidence was stacking up, the responses were getting more defensive, and we realised that more was happening than perhaps we'd known about.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't want to work for them or anything like that. Years ago, when I went on their aeroplane flight out to America, I had a bloody fantastic time. And you know what? All the people I was with, who were the fanatical fans, is all I can, like, we're talking about Ryan Giggs and football managers and all this. They were like properly like football fans. They absolutely loved it.
Yeah, but
I don't know another brand that inspires that. It's like from someone who appreciates branding and stuff. I think they're like an amazing exercise in branding. Where, you know, obviously it's all a little bit silly, isn't it? They're not punk and all the rest of it, but for a lot of people, for a long time, it was, and I think that is.
But this is, I think,
ingenious.
that's the real danger of the situation that craft beer has found itself in that. And we used to talk about this quite a bit in the craft beer industry, like this sort of rock starification of brewers.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, once you get to a certain scale, brewery founders are business people, and we should not ever. Well, I personally don't think we should ever sort of idolize business people. I think it's because most of the time they're having to do things, certainly at the scale that BrewDog are and some other companies as well, doing things that maybe aren't the best for other people.
Yeah.
And I think it's a weird thing to idolize people who are very good at business.
There's there's been so many films recently that do exactly that. There's like the Blackberry one, the Tetris one. There's obviously numerous Steve Jobs ones that have come out since his demise. Demise, that's the wrong word. Sorry, his death. I mean,
demise is also
it just sounds negative.
Euphemistic.
It just sounds negative.
Well, I mean, I don't think his death was great for him. So
no. I mean, it's horrendous. Even if you're a billionaire, you can't be saved sometimes. So but I'm waiting for the movie, baby. I reckon that'll make a great movie with a bit of distance and time. I reckon this would be an interesting film to watch. Maybe he's going to write a Hollywood script. Actually, someone else would have to write, wouldn't they?
So they've already tried to do a documentary. They wrote the script and everything, and he put it on his Instagram account and got roundly mocked.
Well, I'm predicting in the next 10 years there's going to be like a feature film.
Okay. Well, I look forward to that. We will see if BrewDog survive that long. It's going to be a really interesting. You know, this time next year.
Do you know what, man?
There's a chance BrewDog don't exist.
Let's hope. I hope they do, because you know they've been going a long time, and it can only be good for you know craft in general if there's a name like that around the world potentially. And I hope that you know they're less problematic, and I hope they make incredible. You know, they make better beer than, because it's not like I drink it anymore, and you know the only times I've drunk it, I've not been that impressed recently. But
well, I guess we just have to hope that the former CEO of Specsavers has the foresight.
You know what they say, Johnny. Should have gone
and apologise.
Should have gone to Specsavers.
Should have stayed at Specsavers. It's the news.
That's the title of the podcast right there. Should stay at Specsavers.
So yeah, there we go. That is the big news this week. I'd love to hear your thoughts on our socials and in our Patreon forum. I think the Craft Beer Channel viewers, I hope it means better things.
Yeah. That was a well-balanced little debate there, I think.
Was it? You reckon?
Think that was... Yeah, I don't think we weren't negging it too much. I was trying to say, like, you know, look, man, anyway, we've said enough, but we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Onto, I guess, positive news about the Burton Union?
Ultimately is positive news, right?
It's like salvaging news. I don't know what the phrase for that is.
Yeah,
could have been worse
almost
news.
It's almost like another pirate sort of tale, Johnny, like at sea, right? Because if you're salvaging something, it's like laws at sea are different, right? If you find it, you can take it; it's yours, and that's kind of what's happened to the Burton Union set, right?
Yeah. What should we do first? Should we explain what the Burton Union is, or should we explain the story?
Well, look, we could say big news. The Burton Union system has been saved by.
Yeah,
Who has it been saved by, Johnny? Because it's been saved by lots of different people, hasn't it? Really.
it has.
But it was it at Marsden's?
It was at Marston's. It was saved by Thornbridge by the suggestion of
Garrett Oliver, amongst many other people.
Right.
Garrett Oliver himself, right, has said that he didn't save it, but he said it's nice that people think, his influence has been able to help save it, and he is credited. He's said he's helped convince Thornbridge and CNBC to save the unions, and that makes him very happy. He says, congrats to Jim Harrison, Simon Webster, Emma Gilliland, Rob Lovett, Dominic Driscoll, Ben Wood, and their respective teams for making sure that this wonderment did not perish from the earth. So that's Garrett Oliver's take on it, right? And now, do we explain what it is? And then I can tell you a bit more about how he describes it very poetically.
Okay. So they have saved this nebulous thing called the Burton Union, which is talked about a lot in beer without anybody really describing what it is or what it does. But so it's a historic thing that was used by mostly by the breweries of Burton in the mid 1800s and later. And what it is essentially it's a secondary fermentation vessel or set of vessels. So the beer is brewed, or the wort is brewed. It goes into the Yorkshire squares, as we call them, where it starts fermentation, and then a day or so later, it transfers into the Burton Union system. And what this is there for is when fermentation is at its peak, it's all popping off, all the yeasty trubbiness is coming out the top. If you're a home brewer, this will make a lot of sense to you. And because it's got this volatile reaction going on, it used to be that you'd have to leave lots of headspace in your tank so that all of that trub had space to grow into as the yeast multiplied and grew. This system was designed so that you didn't have to have all of that headspace, which A is wasted space, B has chance of infection, oxidization, all this kind of stuff. So the Burton Union system is basically a load of barrels connected together by pipes that are absolutely completely filled with beer, so there's no headspace in them. And that would mean that when the fermentation hit its peak, out of the top would spurt beer and yeast. That would go into a trough, and the yeast would be filtered off, and the beer would be funneled back into the system. So you didn't lose any beer. You could collect pure yeast pitches, so keep recropping that yeast from a healthy fermentation, and you didn't need lots of extra space in your brewery that could potentially have issues or just be wasted space.
So it's genius from the Victorian era that's still in use today, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it's a mad thing to look at. It's sort of I don't know. It looks like some kind of ancient scientific experiment. Sort of all these barrels suspended in the air with pipes going everywhere and lots of noise, obviously, in fermentation and pumps and gravity working. And it's kind of a wild thing that Marston's, with the making of Pedigree, their best bitter, they used to say, you wouldn't get the flavour of Pedigree without the Burton Union system because, I guess, of, the micro-oxidation that would happen to the amount of beer that escaped. To do with the lack of headroom, which will influence the flavour of the yeast. If you've got lots of headroom, you tend to so lagers, they'll want lots of headroom because that blows off lots of the kind of the compounds that are flavourful. So it has an influence. The amount of pressure that the beer's under can change what a beer tastes like and how the yeast behaves. So they used to say Pedigree would be different if we didn't use the Burton Union system. Clearly, they've reverted on that because they're going to keep brewing Pedigree, but they've got rid of the Burton Union system. And so it was going to go effectively in the bin.
Wow.
Until supposedly Garrett Oliver comes along. This summer, I'm going to be hosting talks at the Manchester, Bristol and London craft beer festivals, giving festival goers the chance to attend tutored tastings, rare beer pours, meet the brewers and even guided tours of the bars. These 3 festivals are the highlights of my events calendar, featuring some of the world's best breweries with delicious restaurant pop-ups, great music and a really welcoming party atmosphere. It's the 3rd year I've been hosting the We Are Beer Tastings table, but for the first time I'm delighted to offer all of our listeners, viewers and Patreons £5 off a ticket when you use the code CBC5. Just hit the link in the description to buy. See you there.
I mean, it's an amazing story, and I mean, like the idea of that. I mean, it's huge, isn't it? It's a frigging ginormous thing. So
yeah, although Thornbridge have only bought one set, so it's like 4 or 6 barrels rather than.
Should we get a crowdfunder together to buy another set, Johnny? Do you reckon in your garage? Have you got a room in your garage? My garage is full. What do you reckon? We could.
My garage would need to be 10 times the size it is to even take a set.
Yeah, each one of these large wooden barrel casks are 150 imperial gallons in size, which is 7 hectoliters, right? That's each one. That's what I'm reading here anyway on the interwebs.
Yeah, which isn't a crazy volume of beer, you know. That's
a massive,
a small craft
wooden barrel, isn't it?
Well, it's multiple barrels, yeah.
Yeah. 24 to 60 in number, all positioned on their size.
Each barrel is 7 hec.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm with you. Okay, yeah, that's pretty big barrel.
Massive.
Yeah,
it's a big boy. I'm not sure we get one in a garage, would we? I can't even.
Oh, you get a barrel, but you wouldn't get the full set that you need.
No.
Because I mean, these are smaller than, say, you know, the vats at Pilsner Urquell or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Similar size-ish, a little bit. I can't remember whether they're 5 hec or 50 hec. I can't remember.
What's happening to the rest of them, man? This is what I want to know. What's going on with the rest of these bad boys?
Perhaps some are being saved for posterity, going to museums, and the rest will probably be scrapped.
Dude, that's wild.
I mean, do you remember when we went to the brewery museum, which sadly is now shut? They had a load of them outside by the car park.
Yeah, like just in the weather and stuff.
Yeah. That's the future probably of most of these.
Holy shit! I want one. I want to make one into. Like, oh mate, imagine
treehouse?
How big is? Well, I'm thinking, could we make it a BrewDog, Brad's BrewDog, like one of these barrels?
What? No, these barrels are not that big.
How big is it? I can't picture what 7 hectoliters is.
700 litres.
Okay, that's not big enough. Maybe we could stack a few of them in a row, and it could be like a tube studio. And I just sort
you wouldn't be able to stand up in it, Brad.
Pod.
I don't know how to get this through
Johnny,
to you.
you're overestimating how tall I am. I want one. I want to stand up in one.
Basically the same height as me.
Yeah, that's true. We're not the tallest of men though. We're like TV sized. You know, we're perfect for TV, Johnny. It's just TV doesn't realise that. But we are the perfect height for television. And I've got a big head as well, which looks great on television as well.
Right.
Yeah, the lollipop head. If you look at a lot of celebrities, they've got oversized craniums because it looks good on camera.
We're
going to have to beef your head up, Johnny, if we ever get on TV, man. You got to get some head preps
my head's
to be
fine.
going on.
What are you talking
about?
Yeah,
I don't know. You got a junior hat size. We need to beef your brain up. Not your brain. You got a good brain.
Look,
we need to beef up your head.
I'm just looking at photos of the Burton Union system.
Yeah.
These barrels.
Yeah.
You'd fit in, but you'd be cramped.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I just mean crawled up in a ball. Like, they're not big.
Okay.
I was just checking because I thought I was going mad with you talking about you being able to use it as an office. But no, they're just large barrels, large butts.
Oh, shit. I still want one.
Sure.
Do you reckon could I fit one in the back of my Kangoo?
No. You couldn't pull it with a Kangoo.
Oh, do you know what? You can get a lot in the back of a Kangoo.
Yeah, but you can't. Oh my god,
the Kangoo can do.
We need to move on. You're driving me mad. So one of the Burton Union sets, which I guess is maybe six barrels, has been taken to Thornbridge in Bakewell, where it will continue to be used. I believe they're going to use it on Jaipur for the first batch, but it's probably better suited to more yeasty.
Yeah.
If the pedigree truth is to be believed, it's more suited to yeasty beers.
Can I just read you the very poetic thing Garrett Oliver said?
Yeah, Garrett's a good writer. Let's hear it.
So this is what he said about the Burton Union set. Once, about 25 years ago, I visited Marston's and saw the Unions going full tilt under the watchful eye of then head brewer Paul Bailey. They hissed, futted, foamed and churned like some great dragon, held temporarily at bay. The whole thing looked and felt alive, and I felt as if I was in the presence of a god. Gods are not practical things in the real world. They are hard to keep alive, but if you believe in them, gods can be worth something. Even if that something is just there spurring you on to your best work to try to be worthy. I just thought that was fantastic.
Oh boy!
And he talks about locomotives as well. I can't find the locomotive bit. Steam locomotives that I've never seen one in action strike me as a magical thing. If there were no steam locomotives ever operating anywhere in the world again, I think the world would be a dimmer place. And he's sort of saying they're like that. They're kind of like totally mad in practical things, but they make the world a better place that they still exist.
Yeah.
Which I think's beautiful. Love it.
I think that's the right perspective. They should be saved, not for their practical, but for their historical significance.
Yeah.
And, people that are sort of surprised at Carlsberg, Carlsberg, as you'll find out in my book, not the one about pregnancy, but the one about beer, Carlsberg were always modernizers. They'd have, when they bought that share in Marston's, they'd have gone in and gone, what the living fuck is this? They were the modernizers of the mid to late 18th century. And I'm not surprised that they tore it out. I'm disappointed they didn't do it with more grace and more respect. Really, I think they showed a complete lack of respect for the British brewing.
I mean, this
history.
should be, in my opinion, like these things should probably be listed, right? Like grade 2 listed or something as a bit of an asset to the country.
I mean, Burton has been gutted by the lack of protections for one of the most incredible places on earth in the Victorian era.
It's a sin, mate. It's an absolute sin that's happened to that town. Like the heritage that was there is unbelievable. The stuff we've lost is beyond saddening. It's a tragedy.
Yeah,
and I mean that in its truest sense.
Do you want to hear? I've got another little bit of news.
Go on then.
That's also a tragedy. I've written in my notes for the podcast. It just says Can Man. So do you remember? I think we've even talked about him on this podcast before, but there was a man who had the biggest collection of beer cans in the world.
I know this guy, yeah.
So he moved house. He had at his peak, he had 10,300 of them.
Yes.
He moved house from Somerset to Hereford a few years ago and had to sell all but 1,500 of them.
Bloody hell.
And now he's had to sell the rest.
Oh, God. I mean, that's almost as bad as retirement. Going, really? That's funded his retirement?
Yeah. Well, no, not entirely. So the collection as a whole, what he sold already and what he's recently sold was 25k. So it's not a bad return
that's pretty
just
good.
Keeping the cans of what you drank.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's not bad, eh? I think that's all right, considering he drank all of them as well, didn't he? Wasn't like they were
do you know what? I
there.
don't actually know whether they have beer in them or not at this point. I mean, he was a collector. He was going out and finding them as well. He wasn't just keeping what he drank.
I think he drank them all. Unless I've invented that, I feel like he drank them all.
I'm not sure he should have drank 10,300 beers. That's
why he
like
needs
a
to
lot
retire,
even
Johnny.
for me.
He needs to retire now.
Do you want to hear the 3 that he kept?
3 cans?
He kept 3 cans.
3? Is that all?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, go on.
So
I need to know.
He kept one, which he designed himself to celebrate 40 years of collecting in 2015.
Okay, probably shit looking, yeah, fair enough.
Well, he kept a 275ml can of Hull Brewery Nut Brown Ale, because he likes the design.
Okay.
And then he kept a 275ml Heineken can.
Okay, I've lost all respect for Can Man. Why the Heineken can?
Because it was the first one. It was the first in his collection.
Oh, okay. It started the collection.
13th of July, 1975. He got that can.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably kind of a cool looking can from the mid-70s.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, I'm looking at Worcester News, which I know is a very reputable outlet. No photos of the 3 cans for me to really criticise or not this man, who's called Nick West. Sorry, I should have said.
They sent the photographer along, Johnny, and then the photographer was like, "Oh, nice cans. Yeah, I'll take a photo of those." And secretly, he was like, "There's a fucking Heineken can, a shit one he's designed himself, which definitely would look rubbish." If he's not a designer and he's designed it, it's going to look like pants.
Take that, Nick West.
Yeah. Sorry, Nick West. And the nut brown, what was it? Nut brown ale
from Hull Brewery. Yeah.
Random. That's random. Why? Not super. None of these things are super rare or like kind of signed by Paul McCartney or.
Well, why would Paul McCartney sign a random beer can in a man's?
I don't know.
Living room.
Well, there's like the whatchamacallit cans, the Peter Blake cans that came out recently for Budweiser. You know, I'd love him to sign one of them. I've got some of those.
I think that's a pretty new invention, those kind of crossovers.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe he had them. I don't know. I don't know what his criteria were for what cans could make it into the collection.
Well, I've got Campbell's soup cans, Johnny, that are Andy Warhol editions. So they're like, the labels are like, they're very meta. The labels are the Andy Warhol colorways of the paintings he did of Campbell's soup cans, but they're actually Campbell's soup cans, Johnny, they released. Very cool.
Is
cool.
The soup any different?
Well, I can't open them, obviously. I had the full set. I had all 4 of them, and they were on a shelf. And then one of the labels started going like really like losing its color and exuding a sort of black stuff from the metal of the can, which is very upsetting.
That's not
so
right.
I've had them for years, and they are great looking things, but yeah, one of them's gone a bit wrong. So I imagine Can Man maybe is started to go a bit sour.
Probably had some issues, yeah. Right, let's talk about this week's video, shall we?
Yeah.
It would be so convenient if literally while we're talking about this, mine arrives, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. It happened with what was it? Arrived at exactly the right time with my. It was when I was doing the Carl Gale episode. I can't remember.
Oh.
But maybe it was the Hample. Can't quite remember. But yeah, so this week's video was Brad presented, Brad filmed, Brad conceived, Brad written.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Not edited though.
Not
I would
Brad
like
edited.
to have edited it, but I didn't edit it. Johnny's so good at editing at this point that it was a Johnny edited affair. It's basically I wanted to go into the world of everyday carry, Johnny, EDC, which I'm quite into. I follow lots of YouTubers who talk about everyday carry. Around, they're so Americans.
This is a big world, right? People who are obsessed with the
massive.
stuff they carry around.
Yeah. There's a guy that I follow that used to. I only found out recently. He's a huge EDC man, and he used to own the gadget store, or the gadget shop. I don't know if you've ever been in one of those that are in shopping malls back in the day.
Yeah, I've definitely been in one of those. Yeah,
little helicopters and like other like mad shit, like little gadgets, like were in my video. This guy was selling those around the UK, and I think his business either went bust or whatever. But now he's a YouTube guy, and he's pretty good. I think he and a couple of people. His name is John Gadget.
No.
Yeah, John Gadget. I mean, I don't know if that's his real name, but his name on YouTube is John Gadget, and he's massive. Like his videos are like 1 million views and stuff. Some of them. And he's a little sort of middle-aged fella with glasses on. He's got a very calm voice, and he's really good. He shows you everything in detail, holds it up, and makes you go, "Oh yeah, I could have one of those." Thanks, John Gadget. And hopefully, I brought a little bit of that to LowBrau, but not as good as John Gadget yet, unfortunately. But
I think you did. I thought it was. We didn't have this comment on this video, but we've had it before. It's nice. Yeah. It's really nice, sort of slow TV, your lowbrows.
Yeah. This one was less slow TV, more QVC TV. Was in the comments. Someone had said that I could make a good Victorinox, although I say that wrong as well, which is another thing. I still don't know. How do you say Victorinox? I know it's not Onox, but that's just what I say.
I've always just said
Inox.
Victorinox. You almost kind of skip over it. Victorinox.
Yeah, it's Victor. I find it hard to say it, despite being a big fan. But it's Victorinox. But I think I was saying Victorinox a lot in the video.
Sorry, what is it?
Victorinox, I believe.
Victorinox, right? Okay.
I think that's how you sort of spell it out. That's not how you say it. I don't know how you say it. I still don't know how you say it, Johnny. But you were so taken by the Midnight Manager that you've gone and bought one, or we've bought one from the channel.
Yeah, well, I thought if we're going to be serious about affiliate links, we should be using them.
Yeah.
If we say you can use them for homebrew, we're going to use them for homebrew.
Yeah, mate, I've used mine all day today before we've been recording the podcast. I've been breaking down huge cardboard boxes with it. Just like knife through butter, knife through packing tape, no problem at all. Just a fantastic bit of kit.
You've inspired me even more than buying one, because I have a collection of penknives because I was a scout nerd, and I had an issue with my shower, and I could not find my toolbox. I still haven't found my toolbox. So if anybody knows where it is, I've literally just spotted it as I was talking. It just occurred to me. It's in the homebrew box, isn't it? It's in the studio.
Of course it is.
But yeah, so I because of your video yesterday, I was like, well, I can't find my toolbox. I'll go dig out my penknives.
Mate.
So
do you know what it is, what you've been using? Is it a Swiss Army knife?
Yeah, Swiss Army, of course. Ones? Red one. Had JG and
you had it monogrammed.
Scratched on. No, scratched on.
Sweet.
So the other scouts didn't steal it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I used the screwdriver on that. Wasn't magnetized, so I'm looking forward to that. Utility, as you call it.
Yeah, man, the utility. Yeah.
On the Victoria. So yeah, a hugely inspirational video for me, as all your lowbrows have been, and I think it shows in the comments. You know, they're not the most watched videos, but the comments are always just like, "Yes, Brad's back," which it's hard not to take slightly personally. But there are some.
I think what it is, Johnny, is that I'm usually the more quiet one, and
except on this podcast.
Except on this podcast, and this is like people get to see me talk nonsense on a video rather than nonsense on a podcast.
True.
So it just appeals to a certain subset.
Yeah. So quite often you've picked out lots of comments. I've picked out lots this time.
Oh, come on. Yeah, great.
I want to start with, I'll just go with Saratra. Good name.
Yeah.
Who says, yes, the new Brad episode. So that's proof that this is happening. Sean Carr, 1988, said, Inspector Gadge Brad, I'll get my coat.
It's pretty good. I enjoyed that one.
Sean's missed the real gag, surely.
Go on.
Which is Inspector Bradgett.
It was right there all along.
Yeah, it was right there.
It is Inspector Bradgett. That's what I should have gone with rather than lowbrow.
So the next thing, and there are loads of comments about this, people asking you about your watch. Tell us about your watch, Brad.
Yeah, so it is a Seiko 5 Sports, Seiko Sport 5, which is like a lot of people are saying is it an SK, Seiko SK, which are the sort of legendary diver watches that they used to make. Well, SKX, sorry. Back in the day, and I had one of those. I did have one of those years ago, Johnny. And when my house got broken into, they fucking stole it. They left some good watches, but they stole that one, which is looks nice, but they're cheap. But they left some of my expensive watches that look beaten up, but are worth more money. But yeah, so it's a Seiko 5 collab with Huff skateboards, and they're long sold out. You can't really buy them anymore. But I've always wanted one, and I bought it a couple of years ago, and it's dead cool. It's got the back of it is arguably cooler than the front of it, so you didn't get to see that in the video. But it's got an automatic movement inside it, and a glass window on the back, so you can look in, which is like having a glass window on the front, but it's on the back, so you can see the little not dynamo, but the little weight that spins around to kind of charge it up and coil the spring to keep it pumping. You see all of that, but it's through a sort of neon lime green bit of glass, which is fantastic looking.
Wow.
So fantastic. They should have put it on the front, in my opinion. But yeah, it's nice. It's a nice watch. And I've got I've got 2 Seiko 5s, but I'm always looking at other ones because they're just really good value. They're like, I paid under £200 for that, which a lot of people go, oh, that's a lot for a watch, but trust me, that's cheap. That's an automatic watch that, you know, if you wear that every day, that thing's got a Japanese movement. It's built like a tank. You can dive in it. Mineral glass on the front, and loads of other whiz bangy stuff. Date on the dial, good loom on the Seikos. It's a tall watch. You know, you can use it and abuse it. 200 quid. It's great. You can get Seiko 5s for 100 quid upwards, and they're fantastic watches.
There you go. It was admired in the comments.
Yeah,
I've just got one more from Daniel Taylor 3737. Says, I often feel that in this digital age in which we live, physical practicality is often overlooked. It's hard to use your phone to open a beer. Not impossible, but a little fucking phone. Great to see well thought out love for practical beer related tools. Great stuff, Brad.
Oh, that's so nice. I read that comment and it made me really happy, because I think this is the thing, man. We're all moving towards screen. Well, we our whole careers are based on screen time, people watching us and listening to us. But, you know, there is something to be said for practical things and, you know, things that are in this world and being physical. And like, we go out and we're brewing, we're filming, and those are physical days. But, you know, obviously there's a lot of non-physical days with, you know, editing and all this sort of stuff going on. But yeah, I like I've been doing loads of DIY recently, and I feel better, you know, like I feel like I've done something, I've achieved something physical, and it makes me feel good, Johnny. It makes me incredibly tired, but there's something satisfying about using tools, using your hands. It's like being a caveman, but like an evolved caveman that can just about use power tools. It's great. And, you know, I think I've always been interested in industrial design and how things work. I can remember being a kid and taking apart my Ribena radio that I'd saved up loads of tokens for to get a free Ribena radio, and I took that bugger apart to see how it worked inside it. And I used to take apart cathode ray tube TVs as well, which could have killed me when I was a young boy. I was doing this. If you touch the back of one of them, it holds a charge that'll kill you. So I'm lucky I'm not dead from cathode ray tube experiments. And do you know what, Johnny? Today at the tip, I poked my head in the TV recycling bit, and I saw three old school TVs, cathode ray tube ones. And you're not supposed to nick stuff from the tip, obviously,
or even trade stuff.
Dude, I was so I was going to have one because one had a combined VHS tape player in it, and I was like, damn, I'm weird. I've kept like cool VHS tapes that I love, classic movies, horror films, and B movie sort of stuff, and musical documentaries and things. I have them from the 90s.
And that's why your garage is full and can't fit a Burton Union set.
Yeah. You got to make compromises, so that's why I didn't steal it. I was so tempted to steal it though. But yeah, I love that. I love there are still space for physical things in the world. You know, with AI taking everything and what not.
I agree. And as we focus more on the digital, we get a little bit more dismissive and sort of short term about the physical stuff that we buy, and it's great to, you know, champion beer, which, you know, has a lot of human elements to it, and it's sort of the same with this stuff. It's stuff that people really cared for and should last a lifetime, unlike beer.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, a Swiss Army knife, if you treat it well, it will last a lifetime. And this guy is so small, Johnny, for your pocket. Do you carry it every day? Like, this is the thing, right?
I'm going to say it now. I won't have it next week.
You are going to lose it.
Yeah.
You are going to lose it. You need to put it on your keys, and then hopefully you won't lose it. But you know, I've got loads of Swiss Army knives. I love them, but this is the only one I carry around because it's a manageable size. That you know, it's massively useful. It's a fantastic gadget.
Amazing.
And hopefully it makes everyone's life a little bit better who gets one.
Well,
Go and buy one on our affiliate link.
I was going to say, we have had some sales from the affiliate link now, not just mine.
Ooh,
which don't tell
nice.
Amazon I bought through the affiliate. We have had some sales, so you are hashtag influencing people.
Sweet.
And I really enjoyed
Nice.
it and was very inspired by that video. So inspired, I bought one. Yeah. That's all we've got time for this week. We've got, as I say, a big video next week in our collab with Baron. The video is shaping up really, really nicely. It's got a lovely vibe, a great tour with Brad's, some nerdy beer chat with me and Jack, and some hop sniffing, and lots of slow-mo of cans filling. So look forward to that. And then our live show with Jack, like I say, it's the 31st, not any other date I might have said in the past or any date I might say in the future. It is the 31st of May. So even if you can't get hold of the beer, grab some hazy IPAs and some red IPAs and join us for that night, 'cause it'll be great fun. It's been 5 months since we did our last live show, and I'm sorry about that. We hope to do more soon. But yeah, 31st of May, 8 p.m, and of course 4 p.m. next week for our brew day with Baron. Love and beer. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the craft beer channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.